Some lives are shaped not just by glory, but by tragedy itself. Paul Newman was one of them. Before becoming a globally admired movie star, he was a quiet serviceman in the U.S. Navy, witnessing the harsh realities of war and experiencing a fateful moment that would change him forever. But perhaps his deepest wound came from his own family, the tragic loss of his son. These weren't just personal marks. They were pains that forged him, transforming a handsome actor into a great man with profound compassion. Let's delve into his journey of battling his personal demons right now. Don't leave your screen. You definitely won't regret it. The legend of Paul Newman. After a tumultuous early life, Paul Newman embarked on a path in the arts, a decision that would forever change his life and the history of cinema. Starting from challenging days on Broadway, his talent and natural charisma quickly caught the attention of critics and audiences. The major turning point in Newman's film career came when he landed the lead role in the film The Left-Handed Gun, 1958, a role that opened the door to a string of later classics. From then on, he quickly became one of the most sought-after male leads, with a versatile ability to transform across various genres. Audiences were captivated by him as the rebellious cowboy Butch Cassidy in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, 1969, drawn to the swaggering gambler Fast Eddie Felson in The Hustler, 1961, and later The Color of Money, 1986, a role that finally earned him the Academy Award for Best Actor after numerous nominations. He also left an indelible mark on the public with his role in the smash hit The Sting, 1973. His legendary blue eyes became his trademark, but it was his tireless dedication, profound ability to embody roles and authenticity in every expression that propelled him to the pinnacle of the seventh art. Not stopping at acting, Paul Newman also proved his talent as a director with critically acclaimed works such as Rachel, 1968, starring his beloved wife Joanne Woodward. Beyond cinema, he was also a prominent social activist and philanthropist, notably with his famous Newman's Own Food brand, a non-profit business empire where 100% of profits are dedicated to charity. His career is a testament to his versatility, boundless passion, and a tireless spirit of contribution to both art and the community. Youth and the scars of war. Before Paul Newman became a cinematic icon with mesmerizing blue eyes, even before the Broadway stage lights or Hollywood film sets touched him, there was a very different Paul Newman, a lean, enthusiastic young man clad in a U.S. Navy uniform. It was the height of World War II, and like millions of other young Americans, Newman, then just an 18-year-old boy, was ready to dedicate his youth to his country. His initial aspiration was to soar through the skies. Newman longed to become a pilot, an image associated with the courage and romance of aerial heroes. He applied to pilot training programs, hoping to fly combat aircraft in the Pacific Theater. However, fate had other plans. A routine medical examination revealed something Newman hadn't known about himself. He was colorblind. The door to combat aviation abruptly closed, extinguishing the aspiring pilot's dream. This was a major shock, forcing him to accept a harsh reality and find another path to serve. Instead of staying home, Newman was not discouraged. He shifted focus and underwent intensive training to become a radioman and tail gunner on torpedo bombers. This role, though not as glamorous as a pilot, was critically important and fraught with danger. As a radioman, he was responsible for communication, transmitting and receiving signals between the aircraft and base, ensuring smooth information flow in chaotic combat conditions. As a tail gunner, he was the aircraft's last line of defense against unexpected attacks from the rear, requiring quick reflexes and nerves of steel. From 1943 to 1946, Newman served at various bases in the Pacific, belonging to replacement torpedo squadrons, responsible for training combat pilots and air crews. He directly participated in reconnaissance flights and engaged the enemy aboard the Grumman TBM Avenger torpedo bomber. However, there was one specific event during his military service that deeply imprinted itself on Paul Newman's mind. A fateful moment he rarely spoke about publicly, yet it had a profound impact on the rest of his life. It was in early 1945, just before the brutal Battle of Okinawa began. Newman's unit was ordered to deploy to the aircraft carrier USS Bunker Hill, a ship considered a steel fortress at sea, ready for the most intense engagements. Fortunately, or by a twist of fate, just days before they were scheduled to fly into battle, Newman's pilot unexpectedly contracted a severe ear infection. This health condition prevented them from participating in the mission and forced them to remain at base. Soon after, on May 11, 1945, the USS Bunker Hill was attacked repeatedly by two Japanese kamikaze planes. That horrific attack caused the most severe damage in U.S. Navy history on a single day of World War II, with nearly 400 sailors and airmen killed and hundreds more wounded. Newman's unit, had it not been for the pilot's unexpected health issue, would have been on that ship and almost certainly would have shared its tragic fate. That horrifying event left a deep and permanent mark on Paul Newman's soul. He realized he had narrowly escaped death, a haunting survival. From that moment, he never thought of himself as special or blessed again. Instead, a profound humility and boundless gratitude for life became the guiding principles for all his actions. Fear and appreciation for every moment became an inseparable part of him. He never forgot the feeling of being close to death and the lesson of life's fragility. This war experience, though not always detailed publicly by him, deeply shaped Paul Newman's personality and even his acting method. It forged a humble man who cherished simple values and understood the meaning of sacrifice. Indeed, these difficult experiences were subtly incorporated into some of his roles, such as in the film The Rack, 1956. There he portrayed the pain and psychological trauma of a returning soldier with haunting authenticity, showing his deep empathy for soldiers who had gone through similar experiences. These are the indelible marks of a challenging past that helped create the great Paul Newman we know. Personal tragedy and the pressure of fame. Even after reaching the pinnacle of his acting career, becoming one of the most sought-after and admired stars in the world, Paul Newman's life was not always paved with red carpets and glamour. Behind those captivating blue eyes and confident smile were hidden pains, persistent inner struggles that few could truly understand. Perhaps the greatest scar, the most heartbreaking and haunting pain in Paul Newman's life, was the tragic death of his son, Scott Newman, in 1978. Scott passed away at the age of 28 from an overdose, a tragedy that dealt a fatal blow to the famous father's heart. Scott was Newman's only child with his first wife, Jackie Whitey. His son's death left an irreplaceable void in the family, and Paul Newman faced deep regret about his role as a father. He publicly admitted that he hadn't given Scott enough attention, time, or guidance in his early years of fatherhood, a period when he was consumed by the pursuit of fame and career in Hollywood. That gnawing remorse haunted him, becoming a heavy psychological burden. However, instead of sinking into despair or self-destruction, Paul Newman chose a path of remarkable resilience. He transformed personal tragedy into selfless and meaningful action. He founded the Scott Newman Center in 1980, a non-profit organization dedicated to helping young people combat drug and alcohol abuse. This wasn't just a simple act of charity. It was an effort to atone, to find meaning in loss, to ensure that Scott's death was not in vain. This center became one of his most significant legacies, helping thousands of lives escape the cycle of addiction, proving that even from the deepest pain, the greatest good can emerge. Alongside family tragedy, Paul Newman also faced immense pressure from his fame and appearance. He was renowned for his mesmerizing blue eyes and flawless good looks. But ironically, these became a burden. Newman hated being judged solely by his physical appearance. He often felt that his looks overshadowed his true acting talent and his tireless dedication to his craft. Newman was a harsh self-critic, constantly striving to prove his worth beyond just a handsome face. He once humorously, but with a hint of bitterness, said his epitaph might be, "Here lies Paul Newman, who died a failure because his eyes turned brown." This reflected his burning desire to be recognized as a talented actor, a serious artist, rather than just a sex symbol. Life under the spotlight also brought other challenges. Some documents and memoirs, particularly his posthumously published memoir, revealed that Newman struggled with alcoholism at times. This may have been a way for him to cope with work pressure, public scrutiny, and personal burdens. Stories of him consuming case after case of beer, or even hard liquor, showed a vulnerable side of a man who seemed invincible on screen. This reflects a silent inner struggle, an attempt to find release from invisible pressures. Furthermore, despite being a Hollywood superstar, Paul Newman was quite shy and uncomfortable in crowds. He often refused photographs or autographs, not out of arrogance, but because he genuinely disliked excessive attention and desired as normal a life as possible. He was a family man, cherishing private moments and avoiding unnecessary glamour. This sometimes led the public to misunderstand his demeanor, but in reality, it was a yearning to live an authentic life away from Hollywood's definitions. These hidden pains, personal struggles, and the pressures of fame painted a more authentic, complex portrait of Paul Newman. They show that even the greatest individuals face harsh challenges, and it is how they overcome these challenges that truly shapes their character and legacy. Transformation and a legacy beyond pain. Paul Newman's life was a vibrant tapestry woven not only with the brilliant hues of glory, but also with the dark shades of pain and loss. Yet what made Paul Newman truly great wasn't his ability to avoid tragedy, but how he confronted, reflected upon, and ultimately transformed those scars into the light of compassion and dedication. His time in the military, with the fateful near-death experience on the USS Bunker Hill, sowed the seeds of humility and profound gratitude in his soul. He understood how fragile life was, and that every moment lived was a gift. This hard-earned lesson helped him avoid being swept into Hollywood's superficiality, instead allowing him to maintain a rare authenticity and humility for a superstar. Then, the ultimate tragedy, the death of his son Scott, which seemingly could have shattered any man, instead became the fire that propelled Paul Newman to rise stronger than ever. A father's regret transformed into action. His establishment of the Scott Newman Center was not just a noble gesture, but a testament to the extraordinary power of love and remorse transmuted into compassion. From a personal loss, Newman created a legacy capable of saving thousands of other lives from the grip of addiction, turning his own pain into hope for countless families. Through Newman's Own, his famous food brand where 100% of profits are dedicated to charity, Paul Newman redefined the concept of success. For him, success wasn't just about an Oscar or box office revenue, but about the ability to spread good, to turn the simplest things like a bottle of salad dressing into funds to help the less fortunate. This was a beautiful philosophy of life, showing that he transcended mundane material desires to live a deeply meaningful existence. In his later years, Paul Newman left behind not only a vast filmography, but also a shining example of a resilient, principled, and deeply compassionate human being. His hidden demons, whether the haunting memories of war, the pressures of fame, or the tragedy of loss, did not conquer him. On the contrary, they forged him, making him more profound and humane. Dear esteemed audience, the life of Paul Newman, a courageous soldier, a renowned actor, a deeply troubled father, and a great philanthropist, is truly an endless source of inspiration. His pains and losses did not define him. Rather, how he overcame them, transforming them into motivation for new good, is the greatest legacy he left behind. How do you feel about this story? Is there anything in Paul Newman's life that particularly moved or impressed you? Please share your thoughts and feelings in the comments below. We truly look forward to hearing your stories. And if you love profound and contemplative stories like this, don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell icon so you don't miss out on our exciting upcoming content. Thank you very much for watching.